Hey there, Blazer fans. Mark Ingram coming back to you with this week's edition of Blazer Insider. Thanks for being with us. We are joined by Assistant Athletic Director Michael Derringer. Michael oversees all of our compliance. Wave, Michael. Wave to the fans. There he is. We're also with our SWA and Senior Associate Athletic Director, Katreshia Verrett. Hello, Ms. Katreshia. And we're also joined by our head women's soccer coach, Erica Demers. Erica is not only our head women's soccer coach, but an expert on all things Canada, which is her home country. So good to see you, Coach Demers. Thanks for joining us. How's everybody doing? Okay?
Yeah, great.
Up?
Good. We're doing good.
Good. Well, I'm curious to know if you can share with the fans, I was in Frisco, Texas on March the 12th at our basketball tournament, men's and women's basketball tournament. Katreshia, I think you were there with me, if I'm remembering right. And we learned about our tournament being canceled. First of all, we're going to, reduce the fans to 100 people per team. And then the next day we had teams on the court and literally pulled them off the court to stop the tournament and came home. Katreshia, you were there with me. Why don't you start? What was that experience like, and how did you get home, and what were you thinking back during that time?
Yeah, it was definitely just a long day, I remember, because we were actually in Frisco, and I was actually walking to the arena to watch the teams that played before us. And I just remember the guards coming out like, you can't enter. And I'm like, why not? What's going on? It was like everything is shut down. And I was like, oh, okay, it's, we're going to be able to come back. And they was like, no, it's shut down. And I think I remember texting you like, do you know it's over or something like that? And as we traveled back from the arena to the hotel, I just remember seeing like all of the students and, there were bands kind of trying to figure out where to go. And it was just like a big state of confusion in that lobby of like, what's happening next? And I remember thinking at that point, we didn't really know what lied ahead. We were just kind of like, okay, we was in that moment like the basketball tournament is canceled. We weren't even thinking about, other sports or anything. It was just like, this tournament is canceled. What are we going to do now to get everyone back? And so for me, that was definitely a defining moment as being an administrator, like listening to everybody. You saw people showing different emotions, and you saw students saying, oh man, I gotta go, it's our spring break and this happened, all those different things. So it was just definitely a long day of kind of reflecting and like, what are we gonna do? We did not know where we would be now at that moment in Frisco, I'll tell you that.
Right, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Yeah, so much has changed, information has changed and everything. Now, Michael, you were back in Birmingham, I believe. What was it like for you, and what was your experience like when you learned about all that?
Yeah, it was interesting. I basically found out about it from the D1 ticker. Like I said, that was a Thursday morning, and one conference after the other was announcing that their basketball tournaments were canceled. And as they were doing it, the D1 ticker was sending out those emails, and they finally got to a point where they sent an email out. They just weren't going to continue to update that anymore. And I think that was basically after all of them had been canceled. So it was just very eerie around the office. Like Katreshia said, it was getting ready to be spring break. So I think some staff had already taken off for vacations and things like that. But it was just a very interesting experience around the office to walk around and get other people's thoughts on it and hear what they had to say.
Yeah, it was we were meeting. We remember we brought some folks in from University Risk Management to talk about it and talk about washing your hands and what is the coronavirus and all that. It's just it seems like it's been 10 weeks. We're finishing week 10. It feels like 10 months, but it was 10 weeks ago. And what about you, Coach Demers? I know obviously your sport, it's a fall sport, is when your season is played, but just like football, you have a spring season as well. So what was the reaction for you and your coaches and your team?
Yeah, initially we were just like, this is so surreal, like this isn't happening type deal. We were having our green and gold challenge week, because we do this bunch of challenges with our team the week prior to spring break, and it was an amazing week for our kids. So we did end on a high, I would say. But I remember just sitting in the office and telling my two assistants and being like, well, we'll be back after spring break. We had 3 spring games left, for our spring season. And I remember that just all of us just feeling like, how serious is this? How serious is this going to be? And then really realizing the impact that it did, affect everyone. And I remember in that moment feeling so like my heart just dropped for all of our spring sports, and thinking about, like, as a head coach, having to have that conversation with my own student athletes, that their season was going to be done. And, my heart went out to all of our spring sports and just what they must have been feeling. I think I worried more about them than I did in that moment for our program, knowing that we are a fall sport. So, but it was like definitely like a surreal moment, was how serious is this, and what's the impact going to be on the world, really, at that time.
I think that for all of the teams that were competing in the spring, you can imagine how difficult that was for them to learn that all of a sudden their season was cut short. And, initially, I think that maybe we hoped and believed that there was still a chance that we might be able to go ahead and compete at some point, pick the season back up. But it didn't take very long before we realized that that wasn't the case. So really, really tough on them, just like with your team too. I'm gonna stay with women's soccer then, Erica. What has your team been doing? How have you kept them engaged? How have you kept them physically fit? All those sort of things.
Yeah. So the biggest word that we talked to the girls about is being creative, and being adaptable. So we're challenging them with our help, obviously, to guide them to find ways to continue to grow, even though we can't be with them every single day. So a lot of it's been film sessions, watching us. We've done some stuff with the World Cup from last year that took part in France. And then our most recent film sessions have been with the Women's College Cup from 2019. So that way they're seeing Division I soccer players, their caliber of play and how they play. And so that's been really good. But we've also wanted to keep it light too. So we've done a lot of different challenges. We did like a cleaning challenge with them. We're going to be doing a dance off pretty soon with them as well. But just finding different ways to keep their minds positive. I think our girls have been pretty resilient through all of this. And, we make sure to try to see them at least 3 times, a week. Our strength coach, Morgan Vetter, has done an amazing job with check-ins with them to make sure they're doing well. Chelsea, our academics person, has also done a great job with checking in with them, making sure academically that they're staying, ready to go. They crushed the spring semester. We're so proud of them. And then obviously a few of them now have started summer class as well. So she's done a great job just to, keep on top of them and just keep their batteries charged and excited and ready to get back into things in the fall.
Yeah, you mentioned academics. We had the best academic semester we've ever had as an athletic department. We had over a 3.4 GPA for all 400 student athletes combined, which is remarkable. And yes, your team always does very well academically. So we're proud of them. Funny that you're going to have a dance off, because Michael and I actually had a dance off a couple of weeks ago. He may want to talk about it. He won, by the way, but it was riveting, as you'd imagine. So Michael, okay, so I can tell you that I have done more projects around my house than in the last 10 weeks than I have in 5 years. What about you? Where you got a new baby at home, and what's life been like?
Yeah, it's been good. I don't recall if it was before this all started or not, but we stained our deck during this time. I'm guessing it was after this all started. Like you said, we have a 9-month-old baby that we adopted, just got finalized last month. So we've gotten to spend a lot of time with her, which is great. We just, this past weekend, thought about remodeling our guest bathroom. So we're still trying to figure out if we want to tackle that project or not. It's kind of overwhelming, so we'll see how that goes. But just different things, trying to upgrade our storage. We've put some plywood down in the attic to get some storage up there. So just home organization, basically. No huge projects, pending how this bathroom turns out. So we'll see there.
What do you think about maybe letting your guests redo your guest bathroom? You use your bathroom. Let your guests redo your bathroom or your guest bathroom.
We should. My wife Lisa's father, my father-in-law is really handy. So whenever they can come back down again, that's a good idea.
I mean, they're the ones that are going to get all the mileage out of it. It seems like they should have some sweat equity involved in that.
Definitely.
Now, Katreshia, I've got 4 kids, and you've got 3 little ones at home. What has that been like for you? I know that for me, I've got to get very creative. You can see even during this call, I've had to move. So I have to find new quiet locations to try to get to. And surely a dog will bark any moment. But what's it been like for you?
It's been definitely all hands on deck. They're all under 5 years old. And so that means they require all of your attention. And so we've tried to develop a schedule. That was probably the first 2 weeks. That didn't really work out too well because they kind of flip-flopped the schedule. And we actually converted one of our guest bedrooms into what we call Verrett Academy to make it a place for them to come and know when we go into there, we're actually going to learn. And so that probably was the best thing because it kind of gives me a chance. I was a former teacher before I got into athletic administration, so I kind of got to dust off those chops and, teach some new things and different things like that. Some days mommy's a good teacher, and other days they tell me that I'm not a good teacher and that they don't want to listen to me anymore. So that's been probably one of the hardest things to do is to keep them on schedule. And, they're at that age where they're learning, so we want to keep their minds active. One of the funniest things we did is that we were trying to explain to them what COVID-19 was. And thank goodness for Google, because they have a wealth of information that you can go on YouTube, and it breaks it down by age group with robots and what it means. And so I'm pretty sure you've seen on CNN how they show like the ball and they put a crown on top to say this represents coronavirus. And then the next day we woke up, everyone had a crown on their head because they were acting as if they were the coronavirus. So it's been a real interesting time, but it's been challenging as well.
Yeah, I learned very quickly there's a reason that I was not meant to be a teacher. We send them to school for a reason, and it's for experts to help them with their schoolwork. I have a senior in high school. My oldest, he just graduated, and actually they had a live in-person graduation on Tuesday night, and a lot of social distancing measures and wearing masks and all those kind of things to make it happen. But I was really appreciative to the school for doing it. I think it would have been very easy for them to say, oh, it's not safe, or we don't want to do it, because it did require a lot of work and a lot of patience. But it's a life memory, as we have all had, that now I'm glad he'll have too. And it seemed like everybody was, for the most part, obeying what they were asked to do, which is good and a good sign. But teaching was not my gift, which is why we do not teach them at home. But the semester is over, and I'm thankful for that.
Yes.
All right, Erica, what about you? You've done anything around the house? What's been going on with you personally?
Yeah, not much around the house. I would say the one thing I'm trying to pick up, and I've learned it is extremely challenging, is the guitar. So I grew up with no musical instruments. A lot of my friends did piano, and everything was sports. And so I never had that. I loved music, and I loved, like, my dad a little bit did the drums, but not too extensive. So I just wasn't around music a lot. And I was like, well, I mean, it can't be that hard to learn, right? Oh my gosh, it is so challenging. So I think I've tried for maybe about 2-3 weeks now. I could say maybe slightly 2 chords down, and that's about it. I struggle to go back and forth between them though. So I would say I am below beginner right now.
But good for you for trying something new, and you've got the time,
Right.
to try it out. And who's teaching you? Are you learning on YouTube? I've heard people do that before. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I've done a couple YouTube. Some of my friends that have done, actually one of my players, Sarah Francis, one of our goalkeepers, I told the team about it in a Zoom, and they were all excited about it. And she texted me afterwards, and she's like, Coach, like, here's a really good one. Like, this person, can really help you. And it wasn't one that I had watched before, but my first person, I was struggling with him. So I've actually transitioned to this new person now, and he seems a little bit more interactive. So so we'll see, but I don't know if I'll be playing any songs anytime soon.
Oh, that's great though. Good for you. All right, so you've been learning the guitar, and now I want everybody to be honest, tell the truth. Who has watched The Tiger King?
Oh,
Don't
Katreshia.
do not lie.
I haven't.
Do it.
It's crazy. I think it is crazy. Anything else, Katreshia, that you've watched? Besides a lot of animated movies?
It's all cartoons and Baby Shark, so I really don't have time to watch things by myself without them popping in. So I've just given up.
Yeah, I think my wife and I went about 18 years without seeing a television show or movie that wasn't animated.
Yeah. I saw the new Scooby-Doo movie. It was great.
Oh, good. What about you, Michael? Anything that you've watched besides The Tiger King?
We binge watch a lot, actually. The Amazing Race, we've gotten through quite a few seasons of that. Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay. We like competition shows, so any competition shows right up our alley.
Yeah, that's great. What about you, Erica?
My team would probably make fun of me if I said this, but I told them about it too. The Golden Girls. I've started to rewatch all the Golden Girls.
Erica,
I think it's hilarious.
Yes, I would have never guessed.
Oh, I love it. I laugh so hard throughout the whole show. I love it.
Okay, so if you had to pick one of the characters that is most like you, which one is it?
Ooh, that's a good
Blanche.
one. Yeah. Yeah, probably Blanche. She's yeah. I mean, I just love all of them. None of them have filters, and it's just
right.
The stuff that comes up. Maybe her or Dorothy, because I like to kind of be the leader of the group, and so maybe Dorothy.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, that's the first person. I will tell you. You. I don't know what the prize will be. Maybe a chicken pot pie for you for that.
Yes.
But, you're the only person that has said that yet. So congratulations. Well, my wife wants to start watching The Outer Banks. So that's apparently a new Netflix show she would like to watch, but we haven't yet. And Last Dance, the Chicago Bulls story, we've been working our way through that, which has been interesting because it was at a time when I was kind of, and I don't want to say growing up, but Michael Jordan, for so long was such a great player. And I was born in North Carolina, and he was too. And so he's just a guy like a lot of people that I followed for those reasons. But and being just the greatest player in the world, I guess, also helped. But that's what we're working on here. And when we get social time, that's what we're doing socially. So, well, we're working towards getting some staff back in early June, and hopefully some student athletes back. What are some things, Erica, that maybe you'll do with the team to be prepared for the fall season? Anything you could share?
Yeah, I think a lot of more just keeping connected with them. We obviously per rules, we can't do too much with them, but we try to prepare them as best we can with giving them things to do. More, like I said before, Morgan will give them a really extensive outline to help them be prepared for when they do come back in the fall. And then we'll prepare them more with the technical soccer drills for them to do, some tactical things as well for them to do. But a lot of it, has to be hands off for us, unfortunately, for the months of June and July. But for me, though, it's such an important time for leadership for those 2 months, for our girls to be the ones that are holding each other accountable, checking in with one another, to make sure that they're staying responsible for the tasks at hand.
Yeah, no doubt. Having some self-discipline during this time is critical, and it's much easier to sleep in than to get up and exercise, especially when you don't have a lot going on. There's my dog, one of my dogs. I'm curious, so as the team is coming back and we're getting ready, we're going to be working through some of those same things with our staff, and we'll be bringing all the different precautionary measures that we'll be taking. They're pretty extensive, but our trainers have done a great job. I'm really proud of them and our team doctor for, putting us in a position to be, where we are. So I'm excited about that. And so before we close out, anybody have any parting parting thoughts for our fans. I'll start with you, Katreshia. Anything you want to share with our fans as we close out here?
I think if I had to tell anything to the fans, it would be like, stay tuned, because the Blazers, even though we've been down and, you know, kind of going through this mode as the rest of the country have, I think we got something special coming out of this. And so I just want them to stay tuned and to, you know, don't be surprised, because you were warned right here.
That's exactly right. We definitely do. How about you, Michael?
Yeah, I just want to, you know, encourage everybody to stay safe during this time and, you know, be prepared to come out and support all our fall sports when they start up in August.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to be back for sure. What about you, Erica? Anything?
Yeah, I would echo the same thing. You know, it's you know, most important time to stay together and continue the family, you know, feeling that we do here have at UAB, and you know, just need your support, want your support, and I'd love your support more than ever right now.
Yeah, we're going to make sure that everything we do has our student athletes, our staff, and our fans in mind when it comes to safety. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody. And I know I speak for everybody when I say thank you to all of our medical professionals, nurses, doctors, physicians, pharmacists, you name it, that are helping us every day to get through this. So thanks very much to everybody. And we'll look forward to seeing you this fall on the field and then on the court. And you get a chance to cheer on your Blazers. So thanks again for joining us. That's this edition for the Blazer Insider. Thanks very much. Go Blazers.
Go Blazers.
Go Blazers.